New room. Not my fault. That's why I shared the picture. Not my fault. All right. Hold on. Now I got to set up my TikTok. Okay. Yeah, very weird. Who knows? Hold on. Hang on. All right. Oh, there you are. Hey guys. Yeah, that was very weird. I sent the little image screen capture over to Discord to show folks. It just YouTube wouldn't let me join. And then it said the only option was to cancel the live. I was like, okay, that was nice of you. Oh, rainbow. Now you've got a rainbow. It's a little late for a game bow. Oh, what the hell. All right, let's do a game bow just for fun. We'll do our little pride. I guess it's not late for the rest of the world, but DC's pride just finished. All right, go live. All right, going live here. That was very strange. Hey, guys. Hey, YouTubers. Yeah, it was being YouTube would not let me join, which was very strange. A little more light here. Oh, there we go. There we go. That was weird. Yes, YouTube was glitching. It's back now. There we go. TikTokers, hello. Yep, put that away. Oops. Put that away. My sip of water. Thank you, Ash, for the gift. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Christina, for subscribing. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's weird. Well, the thing is, TikTok generally works. TikTok works. It's very interesting. I mean, TikTok, I think, could use some modernization, but TikTok generally works. Thank you, Jorge, for the gifts. YouTube glitches. It's very weird. I mean, Discord glitches. We know that, but Discord's old, right? But YouTube shouldn't glitch. That's right. I mean, this is like Google. Google shouldn't be having errors. Thank you, Elizabeth, for the gift. Anyway, so welcome all. Hey, Jess, thank you for that. No notification. TikTok. As we just got done saying, TikTok tends to work, except when it's not notifying people that I'm live. But what do you do? How's everybody doing? I just made some beautiful new Greek bread. I needed another installment. I ran out the other day. Thank you, Pedro. Beautiful. I will show you my beautiful. I'm very proud of my Greek loaf. One moment. Very nice. Oh, yes. There we go. This one's pretty impressive. I will say, this is a nice loaf of bread. That's my Greek loaf. Kind of like panettone, but not really. It's much better than panettone. But this is my Greek bread that I like to use for breakfast and snacks. So very excited. Very excited I have more Greek bread. Woo-woo. Woo-woo. Oh, yeah, I keep forgetting you guys have all those other like emojis you can use. Exactly. Tsureki. Exactly. Tsureki. We call it. My Greek bread recipe is over on Discord. I've posted it before. You should be able to find it in the food cooking recipe section on Discord. Go check it out. I'd have to double check actually, because I may have updated the recipe. I've been tweaking mom's recipe because mom's recipe was like, add this much flour and then add as much additional flour as you need. And I was like, okay, this is not helpful. I mean, bread recipes, you do have to tweak the flour, but I was like, this is not, it was like an extra cup of flour or something. So I finally tested it and weighed the amount of flour I was putting in. So now I've got the recipe literally, it works. So like, you don't need to screw around with it. It works, which I'm very happy. Any case, I'll see about putting up a new recipe. But anyway, thank you, Laddie. Thank you, Bryce. So welcome, guys. Yeah, I'll put I'll maybe remind me later, Amanda, or even now you can put a comment in the chat, the mod chat for me, and I'll put it up after the show. I'll put the latest version where I've analyzed kind of what needs to be there. Anyway, welcome, guys. We talk about food. We do talk about food on this show. Usually we wait till the end, but sometimes I'm just in the mood to talk about cooking. So thank you, Fallen. Thank you, Super Hornet. So welcome, guys. I am John Aravosis. This is the show. We talk about the latest news from Washington or Los Angeles, as it may be. And then we also talk about the latest from Ukraine. So let's get rolling. Let's get rolling. New gadget. What new gadget? Oh, the rice maker. I did make more rice today. I did that too. It's working. I had to sort of, as we said, making jasmine rice with a rice maker, a little confusing, but it turned out well. I'm happy. Anyway, so welcome, guys. Thank you for the gifts. I'm going to get started. the way the show works is I go through the stories that I think are important today. Today's pretty much Los Angeles and Ukraine. And your gifts help pay the bills. So I ask you for the gifts on TikTok and YouTube. Subscriptions even better. And you can even buy subscriptions for other people on TikTok and YouTube, which are nice little gifts to do. Thank you, Jocelyn. I do a weekend show. I didn't do it this weekend because of pride and also my voice, but I do a weekend show, which is nice. Did John pause? Tree Robitaille says my YouTube froze. Has it frozen for anybody else on YouTube? Ruh-roh. Manda, go check it out. Or YouTubers, if I'm here. Okay, good. Carrie says no. Okay, good. Woo, all right. That scared me. YouTube glitched on us at the beginning of the show, which is crazy. It wouldn't let me start the show. Tegan said YouTube did break 5 minutes ago, but it's fine now. Thank you, Chazek. It's back. Okay, weird. YouTube's having issues. All the social media platforms did something strange today. I don't know, Jocelyn. It's a little weird. Thank you, Chazak. Anyway, so let's get rolling. As I said, please do keep the gifts coming. Thank you, Nick. Let's start with Los Angeles. As you know, Los Angeles is hard to even know where to start this story. Basically, Trump is trying to embarrass Democrats. He's trying to strong-arm Democratic states. He's trying to beat the hell out of Latinos. It's show that he's strong on immigration. And he sent 700 Marines, and I'm forgetting the number of National Guard. Was it 2,000, 4,000? I'm forgetting the actual number of National Guard. He nationalized and sent them to whatever into action in California. The only thing is, and I found this out today, which is pretty funny. The Marines are not being used at all yet. The National Guard, most of them are not being used. So Trump today claimed he saved Los Angeles from burning down. I kid you not. That was Trump today. Oh, there's the game. Oh, I get it. Thank you, Adventures. It's like a game player rainbow. Okay, that's close enough to pride. I'll accept it. Thank you, in appropriation for the gift. Hey, Bjorn in Sweden. So yeah, Trump claimed he saved Los Angeles from burning down by sending the Marines and the National Guard. Except we find out today that none of the Marines are being used yet, and most of the National Guard are not being used yet. So Trump has, again, taco. He's a taco. Trump always caves on everything. He pretty much caved on this, guys. He sent the Marines. This is such Donald Trump, especially on immigration, but really on any issue. This is what worries me about Trump and the MAGA movement. There's a lot of pretending. It's not just caving, it's pretending, right? Thank you, Carol. Thank you, DNC. He doesn't really do things. He goes and he right, like all the tariffs. He announced all the tariffs and he caved on all of them. On this stuff, the same thing. I mean, I'm glad he caved on this one. But he sent, the Marines to California to get the protesters, except then the Marines have been sitting on their butt, not doing anything. Now, I'm glad the Marines are sitting on their butt, not doing anything. It's costing us $180 million, apparently, but nonetheless, $134 million. But exactly, Taco Tuesday. That's very funny, Robin. It is Taco Tuesday. So I'm glad he chickened out and isn't using the Marines. But he went through this whole fanfare of sending the Marines. He also sent thousands of National Guard troops. He's not using most of the National Guard troops either. Like, I mean, again, I'm glad Trump isn't using the military to go after protesters. I'm glad he's not using the National Guard. But at the same time, what worries me is this is just like the wall in Trump's presidency. Remember, Trump's big proposal for addressing him. And by the way, as we talked about, I don't like illegal immigration. I think immigration is a huge problem. I was talking with Cal about this. I think immigration is a huge problem in this country. I think it is a crisis, to be honest. But I don't think, and I mean, again, people get mad at me on both sides, but I like to think that means I'm saying I'm doing something right. But I think Democrats have always been afraid to do something on immigration because of Latinos. And they used to get the votes of Latinos. Now Republicans get a lot of Latino votes, even though Republicans attack Latinos a lot, especially on immigration. But generally speaking, Trump has said really bad things about Latinos before. But nonetheless, Democrats are sort of afraid to take on immigration and do anything about it. And Republicans Republicans go overboard verbally, But then a lot of times they don't actually do. I mean, Trump is doing stuff this time. His first presidency, he didn't do anything, really. His first presidency, Trump said he was going to build a wall to stop people from crossing the border illegally. And honestly, we all made fun of the wall. We all didn't like it. The sentiment, I support. I don't want people crossing the border illegally from anywhere, right? Canada or Mexico or the sea or whatever. But Trump didn't really build a wall. Thank you, Hannah. And thank you, Inappropriate. He built 53 miles of new wall. That's it. We have is it 2,000 mile border? We've asked ChatGPT before. What was we can ask Alexa, but honestly, Alexa drives me crazy. Alexa, how long is the U.S.-Mexican border? Let's see what she says. Of course you don't have an answer for that because you're a moron. I don't have an answer for that. Yeah, I said it going in. I said, Alexa's going to screw this up. How long is the U.S.-Mexico border? ChatGPT will get it. 1900, Tina's saying. Robert's saying 2000. 2000. Yeah. 1954. 1954 miles. Okay. So 3,000 kilometers, 2,000 miles. Okay. That's fine. But the point is, Trump didn't. His big proposal last time was to build a wall. He didn't build the wall. He doesn't talk about building the wall anymore. He let people think he built the wall. He didn't build the wall. This time Trump is doing a lot on immigration. We know this. He's kicking people out left and right, raids and stuff. Fair enough. But on this National Guard thing and the Marine thing, he's literally not using them. It's like, which I'm glad he's not using them. But at the same time, I really am not a fan of, demonstrative theater for politicians. I think our government should, do or, to quote Yoda, do or don't do, but don't pretend you're doing stuff. That's absolutely ridiculous. In any case, a federal judge today denied California's request for an immediate restraining order stopping Trump from sending the National Guard and the Marines to California, or nationalizing the National Guard. What the judge did was the case is not over. The case is going to be heard on or at least the initial hearing will be on Thursday. The judge turned down California's request to put a restraining order on Trump to stop him immediately from being able to send the Marines or control the National Guard. So Trump has not won yet, but it was certainly a victory for Trump, but he has not won yet. This was just whether the judge would stop Trump pending the trial itself, right? And the judge said no. Listen to this, CNN. This is what I was telling you about, where basically Trump already tacoed on this entire thing. The commandant of the Marine Corps said the battalion deployed to Los Angeles is already there and ready to follow the orders from the U.S. Northern Command. So the Marines have been sent and they're ready to follow orders. The reason they're ready to follow orders is they haven't been given any yet. They're not using them. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Inappropriate. Thank you, Kifu. Thank you, Nauseous. Now, I'm fine with that. I don't want him to use Marines in California. But the point is, Trump claimed today that by sending the Marines and by using the National Guard, he literally claimed today, I saved Los Angeles from burning down in flames. Except the Marines haven't done anything yet. And then most of the National Guard troops he sent have also not done anything yet. So how did they save Los Angeles from burning down in flames when they haven't done anything yet? Donald Trump's lying, basically. Thank you, Marsha. Thank you, Inappropriate. A little more on this. The Marine Corps general says they have not yet been called to respond. Exactly. They've not been given any orders to do anything yet. A source familiar with the operation told CNN the bulk of the troops will likely remain out of public view unless called in to quell violence. Also, most of the National Guard troops aren't engaged either. So they're talking about if things get really violent, they'll use the Marines, they'll use the National Guard, but they haven't, which, by the way, this also contradicts Donald Trump. If the Marine Corps general and the others associated with Trump working on this are saying he sent the Marines, but he's not using them yet, and he will only send them in if there's violence, I thought he was sending them there because there's violence. Right? Trump told us he was sending the Marines and nationalizing the National Guard because there was violence in Los Angeles, too much violence. It was out of control violence. Now that he sent the Marines, he's not using the Marines unless there's violence. but he told us there was violence. So why isn't he using the Marines? He's admitting there isn't sufficient violence, right? Or there isn't out of control violence. You get what I'm saying? He confessed that it's all BS what he's doing. I mean, it's just so typical. Thank you, Marsha. This was wild. Part of Trump's people getting really a little scary. Thank you for the other Gamebo. Who's that Gamebo from? Thank you, Marsha. Thank you, Adventures, for the Gamebo. CNN, Homeland. This is from CNN as well. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. You know her, Kristi Noem. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem previously asked Defense Secretary Hegseth to direct military troops on the ground in Los Angeles to arrest protesters, a move that would likely violate federal law. It's unclear. This is from CNN. It's unclear under what authority members of the U.S. military would be allowed to arrest individuals inside of the U.S., an action that is largely prohibited under federal law that governs and largely prohibits federal troops from law enforcement activities against civilians. She asked the Defense Department to go and start arresting people. Guys, again, this stuff is so generous. Actually, no, German's right. If anybody finds one they like, let me know. Thank you, Marsha. I need a Kristi Noem wig. You're absolutely right. Thank you, Karis. Thank you, Addie. Thank you, Maluda. Thank you, Crazy. I need a Kristi Noem wig. That's a great, the blonde or brown, and then it comes down and spirals on both sides. Oh, the eyelashes I won't wear because they're too hard to put on, but the wig would be very funny. That's a really good idea. Kristi Noem, who's the Department of Homeland Security head who does all the glamour videos. Thank you, Marsha. Every video she does is like, Homeland Security, I'm Kristi Noem. And then she bats her eyes. I take security seriously. And she's wearing these outfits, and it's just like, thank you, Cheryl. Basically, it's like a beauty queen holding court. It's weird. It's totally inappropriate. Because she's clearly doing photo ops. She's doing publicity stunts. I mean, she's doing like these serious events about serious issues, like with illegal immigrants and this kind of stuff. And then she's like putting on eyelashes and hair extensions and stuff and makeup and stuff while putting on these military uniforms. It's weird. It's not serious. I mean, you just wouldn't do that. If you're putting on the military stuff, you wouldn't like put on false eyelashes and hair extensions. It's inappropriate. It really is, because it's sort of like a guy putting on an Armani suit or so, like a $2,000 or $5,000, suit or something, to go put on his little military outfit and pretend he's cosplaying a soldier or something. You know what I mean? It's very weird. Thank you, Hellianne. Thank you, Liberal. Cosplay. I actually heard it finally pronounced yet. Is it cosplay or cosplay? Like costume? How do you pronounce it? Is it based on costume, by the way? The COS part of it? I'm going to go with cosplay. Cosplay? No, cos. I was going to say like costume. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. Cosplay. Okay, it is like costume. That's what I was thinking. Okay. I always thought it was cosplay. And literally, as I was talking to you guys, I kind of went, it's probably based on costume, and it's cos. Yeah, okay, cosplay. A little bit more here. Oh, Trump's big put. So listen to this. Trump talked today about his big parade. He's having his wargasm, as I call it, Saturday. His big parade for his birthday and whatever. All the military troops and the tanks and everything to go through Washington, D.C. Very scary. Thank you, Marsha. And there were two very interesting revelations in what Trump said today. Very scary. Actually, one's just like wacky and the other one's scary. Thank you, Annie. Listen to this, okay? Get my sip of water and then read this to you. 1 second. Listen to this. Trump warned today that any potential... Now listen to this. Trump warned today that any potential protesters, he didn't say violent. He said any protesters at Saturday's military parade will be met with force. Quote, for those people that want to protest, they're going to be met with very big force. And I haven't even heard about a protest, Trump said. This is the people. That's not English. These are the people, you would say. This is the people is not English. This is the people that hate our country, but they will be met with very heavy force. Well, then you're going to have some pretty major lawsuits, because you're really not allowed to meet with violence people who are peacefully protesting. Trump just said, I have to do a video on this afterwards. Trump just said he's going to respond violently to anybody who peacefully protests his military parade. In America, we don't do that. They do that in Russia. They do it in the Soviet Union. They do it in China. We don't do that in America. This will be, and the problem, of course, is each step of the way he does more and more and more and thinks he can get away with it, and he may get away with it, but let's see. A little bit more here. Talking about, this was great. So then Trump talked about the reason for the parade. Okay, this is my favorite. I mean, obviously insane that he's talking about using violence against protesters if they protest at all. By the way, Trump was the one who previously asked his chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, America's top military official, uniformed military official during Trump's presidency. Remember when there were all the protests outside the White House? I think this was the BLM or whatever it was, but all the protesters outside the White House. And Trump asked his chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff why, like, basically said, I would like to use the military to get rid of these people. They're, making it ugly outside. And he was like, well, we really can't do that, sir. We can't just use the military to go after peaceful protesters. And Trump said, why not? Can't you just shoot them in the leg or something? That was the quote. Can't you just shoot them in the leg or something? And his top military official said, no, we cannot use the military, the U.S. military, to shoot peaceful protesters in the leg. Google the story. It's totally real. So keep that in mind as far as why Trump is now saying if you protest on his birthday, he will use violence to stop it. It's the same argument he used before. But listen to this. Listen to this. Trump then explained, because the real reason for the parade, actually, what is the real reason? Isn't it the anniversary of the army or something like that? Like, bottom line, Trump gets upset. Trump likes two things. He likes Putin's parade every year about World War II, which is stupid. And he likes the French parade, the Bastille Day parade, which is the big, celebration, national independence, whatever, or the anniversary of the country, right? 250th anniversary of the army. There you go. It's the 250th anniversary of the army. Trump gave a new reason today for the parade. Listen to this. This is insane. Trump said, hang on a second. Trump said that the reason for the parade is, if it weren't for the United States winning World War II, you would be speaking German right now. You might be speaking Japanese. You might be speaking what was it? A relevant? You might be speaking, a relevant combination of both. A combination of both, Trump continued. Okay, let me start this again. So Trump's explaining the parade is really about World War II. I have no idea why we're having a parade about World War II. We did a great job in World War II. It was 80 years ago. I'm not quite sure why we're having a parade right now for World War II. Trump explains why we're having a world. You see, according to Donald Trump, imagine had Joe Biden said this, okay? Thank you, Melanie, for the gifts. Keep the gifts coming, guys. Imagine had Joe Biden said this. Trump claimed today that the reason we're having a parade on Saturday with military in Washington, D.C., thank you, Flower Lady, for subscribing, is because we never celebrated our victory in World War II. He's having the parade because he found out that we never celebrated our victory in World War II. And you're going, wait, what? Wait. What do you like? I know. First of all, we've seen photos. We've seen lots of photos. Remember the guy with the nurse or whatever the hell she was, and on Times Square, and he grabbed her and flipped her like this and kissed her, right? There were lots of celebrations of World War II. America has celebrated the end of World War II a lot, actually, and I'm glad we have. But like Carol just said, it's like the groceries. Trump was really impressed by the word groceries a few months ago. He goes, "There's this word, groceries. It's an old word, but he was amazed that there was this word groceries, and he even described it. He said it's like when you put food in a bag." And people were like, "Yeah, I think we know what groceries are. Thanks, Donald. It's not really a new term, but thanks." So listen to this. Listen to this. You would be speaking German right now if the Americans didn't invade. You might be speaking Japanese. You might be speaking a combination of both. I love that too. Both. Both. You might be speaking a combination of both. We won the war, and we're the only country that didn't celebrate it. We're going to celebrate big on Saturday. Hey, we won the war, and we're the only country that didn't celebrate winning World War II. So we're going to celebrate big on Saturday. I think I have to do a video on this one too now. Donald Trump doesn't know that America celebrated winning World War II. I have to tell you, I kind of wonder if he just found out. You know, can you imagine like somebody sitting there and saying, hey, Mr. President, we did win World War II. And Trump goes, wait a minute, what? We won World War II? And his aides go, yeah, like everybody knows we, and Trump goes, no, I never heard this. I've never heard that we won World War II, right? They never told us this. They never talked about it. We never had parades. We never discussed it. So like Trump, this is like a new thing. This is, as Carol said, groceries. It's like groceries. When Trump thought the word groceries was some new thing, he thinks we're the only country that didn't celebrate it. He claimed World War II winning. Not to mention we celebrate like every year. Isn't one of the days, whether it's like Labor Day or Memorial Day? Is it Memorial? What are the Memorial? Not Labor Day, Memorial Day or Veterans Day? One of them. Maybe does he mean we don't have a day? Like because Americans, I guess no. That's probably true. But is Veterans Day World War II focused, or is it really all veterans though? You know what I mean? It's really not World War II. You know what I mean? Because like, for example, the Europeans celebrate, May 8th for, Europe, obviously, for Victory in Europe Day. One thing that is true, we don't celebrate May 8th here. We just don't. I mean, it might be on the calendar, I don't know, but we really don't. So that's true, I guess, right? But we have like a general day for all veterans. Yeah, thank you, Marcia. November 11th. I mean, World War I. Yeah, but November 11th is World War I. I'm 99% sure November 11th is World War I. Am I correct? I think I'm correct on this. Help me out, folks, if I'm wrong. Right? It's so like maybe he meant we don't have a day that we have a national. But here's the thing. I have to say, like, I think at this point, it's a little weird to put that much attention on World War II. Obviously, huge victory, very important victory. And it wasn't just America. It was a lot of countries because we came late. The Russians helped begrudgingly at the end. They were allies of the Germans, but they helped in the end. But it's a little weird to be like, hey, 80 years later, let's start having a national day of celebration about World War II. But again, my favorite is we never celebrated the victory. Yeah, well, that's true. Rob raised a good point. It's because it's his birthday. That day's his birthday. It's kind of funny because what he's really saying is they never celebrated my birthday. is actually, it almost sounds like he's saying mom and dad never celebrated my birthday. Yeah, but you kind of wonder if that's not what is going on here a little bit, right? Very weird stuff. Very weird stuff. Oop. Hold on, I'm going to check my temperature again because once again, I'm getting warm in here. I turned the temperature down, but that clearly wasn't enough. One moment. Oh, no, the AC is on. Oh, it was on. Come on, AC. Turn on. All right. Let's switch over to Ukraine. All right. We've talked. That's kind of it for the Trump news for today. Let's switch over to Ukraine, and then we'll continue. It is 1,202 days since Vladimir Putin began his special 3-day military operation. Didn't go so well. Ukraine's Air Force says Russia launched 315 drones and 7 missiles at Ukraine last night. Thank you for the gift there, Polly. Keep the gifts coming, guys. Thank you, Laddie, as well. I do this for a living. Your gifts pay the bills, so please. And remember, subscriptions too. We love our subscriptions. Feel free to do some YouTube, TikTok subscriptions. Whether they're gifts for other people or whether you yourself subscribe, it's a way of supporting me every month or any of the creators you follow on TikTok or YouTube or Discord or wherever. But it's a nice way to, you can become subscribers on Discord as well, actually. I always forget that. So a little bit more. The U.S. is going to reduce funding allocated for military assistance to Ukraine in the upcoming defense budget, according to Trump's Secretary of Defense. That's that Fox News host guy. I'm not surprised. Whatever. I mean, big surprise here, right? Like whatever. Thank you, Apostle, for the gift there. Thank you, Polly. Zelensky called on the West to slash Russian oil price cap in half. We've got this oil price. It's complicated, but this sort of regime in place to force it so that Russia doesn't get more than $60 a gallon for its gasoline that it sells, or for its oil that it sells. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, Elizabeth. And the Ukrainians want to basically lower the amount the Russians get. We'll see if Europe agrees. America, forget it. Meanwhile, the European Union unveiled its 18th package of sanctions against Russia, targeting energy, banking, and oil. Israel, this is interesting. Thank you, Adventures. Thank you, Dystopian. Israel's foreign ministry is denying sending Patriot missile systems to Ukraine. Earlier, Israel's ambassador to Ukraine, Michael Brodsky, said in an interview that Israel had agreed to transfer retired Patriot missile systems originally supplied by the U.S. in the 1990s. Now, this was something that we talked about a couple of years ago. Israel had extra Patriot missile systems or missiles or whatever that they weren't using. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Dystopian. Thank you, Adventures. That they weren't using. And we wanted them to send them to Ukraine. And Israel was like, no, we're not going to do it. Well, then Israel's ambassador says, oh, it's been agreed we're going to do it. Now the Israeli foreign minister is saying, no, we're not. Now, one thing that I'm wondering about is, thank you for the game player there. Who is that from? Adventures, thank you. One thing that I'm wondering about is, could this be that the ambassador just told a secret? That in order not to piss off the Russians, they weren't going to announce it publicly. Like they were going to do it, and if the Russians found out, it would be like, oh yeah, that, right? But by announcing it publicly, you're bragging about it, and you're not letting the Russians save face. So that's what I'm kind of, because I doubt the Israeli ambassador to Ukraine isn't up on what military aid Israel's giving to Ukraine. He's going to be in on all the discussions. I think he told a secret he wasn't supposed to tell. That's my guess. A little bit more. Russia is going to help North Korea produce Shahed-type drones, according to Ukraine's spy chief. That's pretty freaky. These are the drones, obviously, that Russia has been using in mass quantities to attack Ukraine. They got the models basically from the Iranians, and now the Russians are going to teach the North Koreans how to make them, so the North Koreans, which is very scary actually, so the North Koreans can have a massive drone force with which to potentially attack South Korea. The Russians. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte said, this was interesting. Let me read you this. This was, I think, via the Kyiv Independent. The political commitment to Ukraine's future membership in NATO remains unchanged. Oh, yeah. Well, there's two parts here, actually. This is the first part. The political commitment to Ukraine's future membership in NATO remains unchanged. Basically, what he said was, we've got an upcoming NATO meeting. They're not going to reiterate the goal for Ukraine to join NATO, but he says that because they're not reversing it, until the members come together and say, we're not doing this anymore, it still is part of NATO's plan. That basically it was already agreed. And just because it's not being mentioned doesn't mean it's not happening. I still think it not being mentioned is not the best of news, to be honest. But, what else we got here? Over 40% of Ukrainians are willing to compromise on de facto recognition of the Russian occupation in exchange for peace. So 40% of Ukrainians are willing to recognize that Russia is, occupying part of Ukraine. Some 48% of Ukrainians oppose even a de facto recognition of the Russian occupation. That means Ukrainians are split, really. I mean, 40% are kind of saying, you know what, maybe we've got to give in and just, not recognize it officially, but kind of say, okay, you've got that land and we're not getting it back anytime soon. 48% of Ukrainians say, no, we shouldn't give any indication that we're okay with Russia occupying even for, another minute. So it's interesting. It's more interesting. Well, interesting on two parts. That there's 40% willing to give up on that is interesting. That it's only 48% of Ukrainians who say, no, don't budge, is also interesting. I would have thought the number would have been higher. Thank you, Jules. Thank you, Carrie. Well, you don't know, Robert. Robert says, I wonder what the people in the occupied territories think. The problem is a lot of the people have left the occupied territories because think about it. If you live wherever you live in the United States, you're in South Carolina, I'm guessing by the SC, you're in South Carolina. the Russians invade and take over South Carolina. Do you really want to, would you stay in South Carolina in a Russian dictatorship where, by the way, they hate you and it's a dictatorship? I wouldn't. If the Russians took over Washington, D.C., I'm from Chicago. If they took over Chicago, I'd get my ass out of there. I wouldn't live under a Russian dictatorship, right? Where they make you become Russian. They don't even let you go to the doctor unless you become Russian. There's no way. So my point is you really can't, this is something Elon Musk came up with. It's a Russian talking point. Just ask the people how they feel in the occupied territories. Well, yeah, you kicked everybody out who was Ukrainian. You brought in a ton of Russian squatters. And now you say, ask people how they feel who are in the occupied territories when they're all your people. And you kicked out all the people who used to live there. That's the problem with the argument. It was an interesting point, but I wanted to explain to people that's the problem with the argument. What else we got here? Okay, this was interesting. Listen to this. This is the other thing from Kyiv Independent I wanted to read you. Russia wants to test NATO's resolve by hostile steps beyond Ukraine. Okay, this writing is not the best. It's not my fault. Kyiv Independent, you could have done a little better with this, but what do you do? Russia wants to test NATO's resolve by committing hostile actions even beyond the invasion of Ukraine. I'm rewriting this in my head. Some Russian officials believe that NATO's Article 5, our collective defense agreement, no longer applies. There are people in Moscow who no longer believe that NATO's Article 5 works, and they would like to test it, said Bruno Kahl, German intelligence chief. Quote, they don't need to send tanks. So he's talking about how might the Russians test our fortitude by basically going after Europe, right? And see, for example, will Donald Trump come to the aid of the Europeans? They don't need to send tanks for that. They just have to send little green men to Estonia to defend the allegedly oppressed Russian minority. The term little green men was first used in reference to Russian soldiers without insignias who seized key strategic facilities in Crimea in 2014 in preparation of the Russian occupation. What they're talking about is the Russians sent Russian troops into Ukraine before their big invasion, and they didn't wear Russian uniforms, which is, of course, a war crime. It's illegal. And they pretended to be Ukrainians, but they were Russian saboteurs. Just that, saboteurs, basically, and Russian military and spies. And they sent them. They were dressed as regular people, and they fomented chaos, and they pretended to be Ukrainians who wanted to be free. So the concern is that they'll do the same thing to Estonia, one of the former Soviet hostages, one of the former Russian hostages that were held by the Soviet Union, free independent country that wanted to be free. And the concern is that the Russians will send troops again because there's an ethnic minority in those countries, and the Russians could send these undercover troops to pretend they're Estonian and basically cause terrorism and other things. And it's a good point. You've got them doing it. How do you prove it's the Russians? I mean, it's scary. It's very scary. Having said that, you let the Russians know, and this is where, unfortunately, Trump would never do. Even Biden wouldn't do this, I think. But you let the Trump certainly wouldn't do it. You let the Russians know if they do anything like this, it will be unholy hell. You let them know we'll take it as an act of war. If you come here, we will take it as an act of war. I mean, you make it clear. You do what Ronald Reagan, for all of his flaws, he knew how to handle the Russians, right? I think he really did. And you make it clear to the Russians, if they do any kind of acts of war against us, we will take it as an act of war and we will respond accordingly. And it's what you have to do. Final point. This kind of made me laugh too. Russia's State Duma, which is the legislature, the Russian parliament, passed a bill to create a state messaging app, social media app, as it's considering blocking WhatsApp. They're talking about blocking WhatsApp. The new app combines the features of a messenger and the functions of government services. Yeah, I'll bet. Yes, the new app is a combination of a messaging app and the KGB, a spy apparatus. So you can use it to communicate, and the government can use it to listen to every single word you say and write. So yeah, that would be good. I mean, again, it's so communist Chinese. Or frankly, Soviet as well. It also is an indication of Russia trying to get a hold of the internet and all of that it's not sure how it can control. Anyway. All right. So that's it for the news. Let's hang and talk. Um, I'm going to yawn at you again. Hold on. All right. I don't feel like sitting up straight. I'm going to adjust my camera. There we go. There's my TikTok camera. And you. All righty. There we go. Now I can sit back comfortably. All right. Carrier pigeon. Well, carrier pigeon would be safer to communicate in Russia than using a Russian government social media app. My God. Greta. I don't really care about Greta. Greta annoyed, but I mean, I also don't care. She was on a boat. They got arrested. They let them leave. Like, whatever. You know. Greta's look, I don't want to knock her because she did a lot on the environment, but Greta Thunberg or whatever, you know, you got to pick your issues. You can't really work on every issue. But then again, you know, that's her thing. So I'm not going to fault her for being an activist, but you know, whatever. I think she gets a little too involved. Thank you, Mustard. Yes, this is my Dino t-shirt from Amazon. It's a really cool Amazon t-shirt. I don't know that it's a PR stunt. I wouldn't go that far, Zoo. I think she's sincere. I just think, no, but she's not an armchair activist either. I think it's more than that. She shows up. I mean, she got on a boat or plane or whatever the hell it was heading towards Israel. She's not an armchair activist at all, right? On the climate stuff too. She got very involved on the climate stuff. I mean, like personally involved. So I don't think that's a problem. I just think, you know, she kind of, I think, gets a little too involved sometimes on every issue. But, you know, whatever. I don't care. That's what I mean. You know, exactly. You need more Gretas in the world. Exactly. The last thing I'm going to do is say, basically, if it's a choice between more people speaking out and standing up for what they believe and fewer people, I'd rather have more people. So I'm not going to knock her, right? You know, I just don't care that the Israelis arrested them. I really don't. They let them go. I don't care. Why would Israel let them in? No one, I mean, I just, you know, again, it's such a small issue, Greta. I mean, again, more power to her, but I don't care, right? Los Angeles, that's a real issue. Some boat she's on getting stopped by the Israelis, whatever. If they sank it, that would be a problem, sure. But, you know. Anyway. What else we got, guys? What else we got? La la la. Trump's victory day, Los Angeles. Oh, yeah. Yeah, whatever. Austria, what did Austria do today? What did Austria do? Terry Moran, we talked about yesterday. I did not see the fences for the DC parade, but I don't really get down there. So I'm sure they're gonna be huge. Well, remember Trump. I mean, Trump is terrified about protest. I'm sure there ought to be protests of Trump. It's his birthday. This is a little birthday celebration. You know, they fired Terry Moran? No. I knew they suspended him. They fired him? No. Oh, well, considering they paid Trump a bribe, let me see here. Oh my God. Wow, I didn't see that. He's very good. Wow. I mean, Terry Moran is like one of the top correspondents in the U.S. Yes, he criticized Trump and Stephen Miller as being world-class haters. They are. And so they're basically firing him. We're at the end of our agreement with Terry Moran, and based on his recent post, which made a clear violation of ABC News' policies, we have made the decision not to renew. Okay, it should be noted, ABC News paid a $15 million settlement, which many people took to be a bribe, to Donald Trump. Donald Trump had a frivolous lawsuit he followed against George Stephanopoulos. ABC probably could have won it, and rather than fighting it in court, they paid Trump $15 million because, you know, this allowed them to give Trump $15 million in cash. And Trump was very happy to accept $15 million in cash. And then other media outlets started to do the same thing, or other companies started to do the same thing, I should say. Really unbelievable. $16 million. Yep. $16 million. Thank you, Camacho. Appreciate that. Yep. $16 million CBS paid. It was a $20 billion lawsuit. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. No, 60 Minutes. 60 Minutes. And Trump is still suing 60 Minutes. This one's great. 60 Minutes is a top American news show, been around for 50 years. Trump's suing them for $20 billion with a B dollars. Again, $20 billion. It's so ridiculous because they edited an interview with Kamala Harris and he thought it was mean the way they edited the interview. So he's suing them for $20 billion and they're thinking of paying him off too. Unbelievable, these people. Absolutely unbelievable. You know? You know? We may have to spend a lot of money to repair the streets. That happened during the first Gulf War military parade. And that was the concern. When was it? Trump's last term when he was thinking of doing this. And they said it was going to cost so much money to fix this, to ruin the streets and fix them, that he didn't want to do it. I could see Trump just ruining the streets and not fixing it at all. That's a possibility too, you know? And then we've got to pay for it with our taxes, which would be ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I don't trust him worth a damn, you know? You know. What else? That's what I'm afraid he's not going to fix it after they ruin the streets. Oh yeah, there was a nasty school shooting in Austria. Like it was like a dozen or more people, like really nasty. And Austria was kind of crazy because Europe doesn't really have shootings like we do, not regular like we do. I don't know what that is, Rob. I think he is. I think he's going to ruin the streets and then tell the DC mayor to do it, which means all of us in DC have to pay for it. And it's going to be like $100 million in damage. You know? Man. Yeah, he's spending $134 million on this parade for his birthday. Thank you, Fallen. I mean, just unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Yeah, leave it up to the states. Exactly. Yeah, I don't know what protest that is, Rob. I've never heard of it. What else, guys? Yeah, DC taxes are already very high. What else, guys? Anything? I feel like we're kind of mellower today. I have no idea what that protest is, this No Kings protest. I mean, I'm glad they're protesting. They need to be protesting. I'd go and take pictures if it looks like it's going to be anything real. No Kings protest. That's a cute name for it. Let me see. ABC News. Progressives holding No Kings Day. No Kings Day. Okay. That's the English of this is not thrilling me. No Kings Day is the name of the protest. No Kings Day. I guess a day devoted to the king. Wouldn't you just call it a No Kings protest, maybe? No Kings Day It's a little weird to me. No Kings Day. Progressive groups say they'll hold more than 1,500 No Kings Day events across the U.S. on Saturday to protest Trump's military parade. The original plan for major progressive organizations, group Indivisible. Oh, okay. Indivisible's doing it. That's good. Overwhelming interest. Yeah, I mean, where are they doing it? It's not a protest on the No King's Day. You think that's what it is? I think they're saying the day is devoted to the king. So it's a no day devoted to a king, I think, right? I don't understand. Any case, oh, here it is. Let's see where this is, where they're doing it in DC, if they're doing it somewhere. Special note on Washington, D.C. Let's see. Donald Trump wants tanks in the street and a made-for-TV display of dominance for his birthday. No Kings is, oh, wait a minute. Oh, they're not doing one in D.C. Oh, instead of allowing this birthday parade to be the center of gravity, we will make action everywhere else the story. Interesting. They're not doing it in D.C. They're not doing one in D.C. Interesting. A community-led event in the district? What the hell is that? What? Anacostia Park Field 7? Are you insane? Oh my God. Okay, forget this. They're holding it in the middle of nowhere, but I mean nowhere. Like Anacostia is like the middle of nowhere. I don't even know what to compare it to. It depends where you live. It's nowhere near here, like a 40-minute Uber, 45-minute Uber, maybe? Like, oh my God. Free food on the grill for the first 500 people. That's nice. Oh, they're holding like a picnic. It's a picnic protest. Oh, they're celebrating DC culture and people and our connections to one another. Okay. There's no way in hell I'd go to Anacostia. Okay. Traditionally, Anacostia was also not very safe. Yeah, that's not happening. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, so there is no protest in DC. Interesting. That's fascinating. I did not know. Now, mind you, Trump literally threatened violence against the protesters in DC. So that could be why they're not doing it, right? That's entirely possible. That's why. So just looking here, 1 second here. That is my guess. I was trying to see like where this is. Oh, come on. What are you doing? Huh. Okay. I guess I don't have I don't know what I've got on my. Oh, hold on. Here we go. Maybe I don't. I was looking here to see. I do not have Uber. Do I have Lyft? I don't have either one. Okay, never mind. I mean, I do on my phone, but my phone is being used as a camera for you guys. Google Maps. I just want to see like how far away this is. I'm going to guess it's a 40-minute drive. Maybe it's 30 if it's not so bad. Oh, come on. Allow paste. All right. 1500 Anacostia Drive Southeast. Dear Lord. 30 minutes. Okay, that's better. Jesus Christ. Oh, it's across from the Naval Yard? Okay, very confusing to me where this is. Okay. All right. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, that's not happening. It's not a protest. It's a picnic. So that's fine. Nice. I mean, that's fine. My guess is, like I said, they probably some park and just Google it. You'll see. My guess is they were afraid of Trump turning violent. Is my guess. Yeah. Oh, that's a good point too. Jason raised a good point. DC most likely they don't want to create an image of more people at the parade, which is exactly how it will be. And part of the problem is, if you're protesting at the parade, are you going to really be yelling at America's military? No, they're not going to let you get near the parade anyway. But probably the optics, right? A bunch of protesters yelling at our troops. I mean, yeah. I can imagine, right? So that would be my guess. Oops. Thank you. Good job, Amanda. What else, guys? The Pope is going to broadcast a mass here in Chicago on the same day. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, they're doing it across the country anyway, but that's funny that they're not doing one in DC. That is very funny. No way, Helen. Really? Get out. Let me look this up. Let me look. That's interesting. Hold on. One second here. I don't think that's true, Helen. Not from what I'm seeing. I'm not seeing anybody reputable reporting that right now. I don't want to repeat it unless we, Yeah, I'm not seeing that. No, just military parade marches into maelstrom. Yeah, but he loves this shit. I mean, this is exactly what exactly what he. Okay, come on. I hate this. What are you doing? Oh my God. Fine. I'm trying to pull up my New York Times, which I subscribe to. Thank you. Why do they log you out? I don't really. Wall Street Journal used to do this to my mom all the time. They would just log her out every few weeks, and it's like she's 94 years old. like, could you not log her out of the account every 3 weeks? Because every time it was like, I'm logged out. I don't know how to get in. It was just, you know what I mean? Like, it's a little weird. By the way, remember when Republicans said that Obama was becoming a dictator because he had a lot of czars? He appointed a lot of czars who are basically like policy people at the White House to oversee an issue. That's it. They're literally a person appointed to oversee an issue like the fight against AIDS or space flight or AI or something like that. And the Republicans literally said Obama was becoming a dictator because he had so many czars. And Trump is like, sending the military into American cities, but that's okay. That's totally okay. Let me see here. Let me look here. Really screwed up. Journalists have been struck by projectiles. Okay. Anyway. All right. What else, guys? I know Obama's tan suit. That was the other thing. Exactly. Yeah. What's going on? We talked about possibly rain on Saturday. Is it Saturday? What's the deal with that? What's the forecast? Is it Saturday, guys? Remind me. I think it's Saturday. Oops. Hold on. Weather. There it is. Saturday, 65% chance of rain. Now it's a little early. It picks up as the day. Well, it's one of those weird things where it's 20% chance, but throughout the day it's 60. CNN reporter being arrested. I did not see that. One sec here. Are you sure about that? Because CNN's own website didn't say that. I was reading CNN's website about LA. No, CNN crew. Oh, I see. They did. They grabbed what's his name briefly detained. Yes, they did. Actually, CNN reported on this, and then this is the what's his name? He's very good. Their report, of course, they're showing video. How about text? Got all the bad. Jason Carroll, that's his name. Detained by LA cops during a live segment. Police detained CNN national correspondent Jason Carroll live on the air during his coverage of the Los Angeles protests while reporting on the unrest. This was last night. While reporting on the unrest, host Laura Coates quickly crossed back to Carroll, who was talking to LAPD officers. I'm being detained, he said. I'm being detained, Laura. I'm not being arrested, correct, officers? Carroll later told the network that he identified himself as a journalist from CNN. I turned around. I put my hands behind my back, Carroll said, of being detained. They did not put me in zip ties, but they did grab both my hands as I was being escorted over to the side. They said, you are being detained while we lead you out of this area. You are not allowed to be in this area. I don't know. It kind of sounds like you've arrested somebody, detaining them. What's the difference? Interesting. That was last night, though. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. He's very good. I've seen him before. Yeah. Well, exactly. They didn't handcuff him. They held his hands behind his back. That's the same thing as being handcuffed. The point of handcuffs is not, it only is really handcuffs if they're metaled. Your hands aren't really tied behind your backs if it's not metal, right? It's the same thing. If a big guy holds your hands behind your back, it's the exact, you've been arrested. Now, it's cute the way they're put. First of all, again, they're lying. Because you were not escorted out of the area. If they've put your hands behind your back and hold them together, you've just been arrested. You've been detained? No. Even detained is a cute way. So is detained a cute way of basically saying you arrested somebody without giving them their rights, right? Because you didn't give them their Miranda rights and other rights that people have when they're arrested. So you've detained them? I don't even know what that means, detained, right? What does that even mean, detained? Like, I'm trying to think, like, in the law, hang on a second. Let me ask here. Let's ask our friend ChatGPT. A CNN reporter was, quote, detained last night by law enforcement officials at the protests in Los Angeles, comma, they grabbed his hands behind his back and held them together and escorted him out of the area, comma, and now they're trying to say that they didn't arrest him, they simply detained him to get him out of the area, comma, but they put his hands behind his back and held the hands together, period. How is that not arrest, question mark? Is there some distinction legally between being detained and being arrested? I want to find what the legal distinction here is, because that sounds really weird. There's a legal distinction between being detained and being arrested, even if it feels like an arrest. Okay. Detention. Legal standard requires reasonable suspicion of criminal activity. Okay. For example, you're detained if a police officer says, sir, pull over. You've just been detained. If he comes to you on the street and says, okay, get against the wall. Why are you here? That's being detained. That's fair, right? Purpose, investigatory, allows officers to briefly question a person or ensure public safety. Okay. Duration should be brief and temporary. No handcuffs, sometimes yes. Courts have ruled that temporary use of handcuffs does not necessarily convert a detention into an arrest, especially in crowd control or protest scenarios. This is interesting. No Miranda warning required. So how can they say it's not an arrest? If the person was briefly detained, escorted away, and released without being taken to a station, booked, or charged, law enforcement can claim it was a detention for crowd control or public safety, even though being physically restrained looks and feels like an arrest. Key court precedent agrees. Interesting. So what they did to the CNN reporter last night was totally legal? Question mark. This is just ChatGPT, so who knows? But it sounds like they could get away with it. May or may not have been legal, depends on the key facts. Why was he detained? Was there probable cause or reasonable suspicion? Was the use of force proportionate? What's the name of the reporter again? I'm going to tell it to look up the case. Oops. Where's the reporter? I think I've got it on Chrome. Let me see. Jason Carroll. Okay, let's see. Because it ought to just, thank you, Lamb Chop. Hold on. The CNN reporter's name is Jason Carroll. I hate that. The CNN reporter's name is Jason Carroll, comma. Google it, comma, get some background on it, and tell me if you think what they did was legally justifiable. Let's see what it says. Katowice. Where is Katowice, Pindo? Oh, hey, Pindo, I remember you. Where's Katowice? I don't remember. Yep, reporting live. He and his crew were physically escorted. He had his hands placed behind his back, but no zip tie. Others informed him you're being detained, not arrested. Police can briefly detain someone. Bottom line, legally speaking, what happened aligns with lawful detention, not an arrest. Officers had reasonable suspicion tied to maintaining order in a protest zone. The use of non-binding physical control is permissible. The absence of arrest procedures makes it likely lawful, but context matters. There's growing concern from press advocates that journalists are being treated like protesters, not press during major demonstrations. If journalists are being routinely detained solely for doing their jobs, press freedom groups could argue this chills First Amendment takes. Very interesting. So, yeah. So, sadly, they might be able to do this. Wow. That was a plausible explanation from ChatGPT, I would say. Thessalia. Okay, VTK. Okay. Anyway, thank you, Ron. So very interesting. Yeah. All right, guys. You know what? It's 12 after. We're going to call it quits because I've been trying to finish the show an hour and 10 to an hour and 15 minutes into the show. So I don't ruin my voice. My voice has already been bad, but we're trying to let my voice take a little bit of a rest. So let's call it quits on that today. I'll be back tomorrow. Thank you for joining us. The show is every Monday to Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern time, US. So sip of water. So join us tomorrow, 6 o'clock. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you for being here. And thank you, mods, obviously. And we'll be back tomorrow to report on the latest from Ukraine. And the report is from Trump. And the latest from Trump land. Stim limni plastira. Oh my God. Ipsometro. There's an interesting word. I don't know that word in Greek. Sorry, I'm having a conversation in Greek with someone here. Let's see if it can. Oh, Lake Plastira. Oh, altitude. Oh, altitude 1200. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, northern Greece, of course. Yep. You get to have altitude up there. Kalinita fallen. All right, guys. Have a good night. I'm going to sign off. Thank you, Discord folks, first. Oops. All right. Bye, Discord folks. Bye-bye. Oops. All right. YouTube next. Bye, YouTube. Doop. All right. And thank